More than 10,000 new files from the Jeffrey Epstein case have been released by the Justice Department. It includes additional photos, emails, and hundreds of video files. Yesterday, President Trump made his first public remarks since the DOJ started releasing new files last week. Despite the bipartisan calls for their complete release, he claims it's a Democratic attempt to deflect from Republican success.
Today, we're building the biggest ships in the world, most powerful ships in the world, and they're asking me questions about Jeffrey Epstein. I thought that was finished. I believe they gave over 100,000 pages of documents, and there is tremendous backlash. It's an interesting question because a lot of people are very angry that pictures are being released of other people that really had nothing to do with Epstein, but they're in a picture with him because he was at a party, and you ruin a reputation of somebody. So a lot of people are very angry that this continues.
CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane has been pouring through the documents and joins us now from our Washington bureau. I mean, Scott, clearly the president doesn't want to talk about this, but it's almost like the slow drip from the DOJ with these redactions is going to draw out how much we do talk about it. Break down what's in this latest release.
I think you crystallized it perfectly there, Lindsay. This is becoming as much a story and an issue of process as it is about the records. This piecemeal patchwork way of releasing the records is infusing the criticism of the administration and how it's handling matters, that it's not giving all the records at once as it was required to do under the federal law. This latest batch that came out overnight while so many of us were sleeping includes thousands of files, but this group includes an awful lot of references to Trump in the paperwork, including a 2020 email sent by the Department of Justice in which a attorney at the agency was telling colleagues or a colleague that Trump's name shows up in the Epstein flight manifest a lot in the 1990s, at least 8 different times. There's also a subpoena that was issued to Mar-a-Lago in 2021 in connection with the Ghislaine Maxwell investigation. Other references to Trump and to Mar-a-Lago in some of the new records. None indicates or alleges any wrongdoing. But there were so many Trump references, the Department of Justice saw fit a few minutes ago, Lindsay, to issue a statement saying that there are many, quote, sensationalistic, unfounded claims about Trump in these records, and that those would have been weaponized previously if there was any wrongdoing. You don't see the Department of Justice issue these types of statements through history where they are giving the appearance, at least the optics, Lindsay, that they're serving as a representative of the president or his defense lawyer versus the people's lawyer, which has been the tradition of the agency.
Certainly, we didn't see a statement like this on Friday when photos and documents about former President Clinton came out, right?
That's right. Bill Clinton's spokesperson issued a statement over the past 24 hours saying he's got nothing to hide. There's no wrongdoing. Release it all the way you're supposed to under the federal law at the Trump Department of Justice. The president was asked about this yesterday, speaking in Florida. Here's what he had to say about the photos, these photos of Bill Clinton.
I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they're giving their photos of me, too. Everybody was friendly with this guy. Either friendly or not friendly, but they, he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places.
Lindsay, there's going to be more releases in the coming days or weeks, likely hundreds of thousands more, according to the Department of Justice. It's just extending and prolonging the process story here. And I think what I'm hearing from survivors is they'd like to see this just happen versus stretched out, where they have expectations raised and then expectations not met, or they're not getting heads up before things come out. They feel this is not the way to be treating the survivors who've been pushing for this for many years.
Some people are accusing the DOJ of being very picky and choosy with what it released on Friday in that first batch. That could be why the president was trying to maybe distance himself, saying he didn't want to see any of these documents related to Clinton. What is the larger, greater picture reaction in Washington?
You have this unique coalition that has formed here in Lindsay of both parties that have been pushing for these records to get released. And you've heard criticism from both parties about the way this is being executed. Ro Khanna, the California Democrat who was the lead sponsor of the legislation in the first place, I asked him yesterday what he intends to do if he thinks his legislation is being defied.
We will file in January inherent contempt. What does that mean? Pam Bondi would be fined every day after a 30-day grace period that she doesn't release the documents. Well, we announced that Sunday morning. Right after that, the Justice Department started unredacting some of the documents. They're now saying they're going to release more documents. I really don't want to go after Pam Bondi. My interest is getting the documents out. So if that has spurred them to getting more documents out, I hope that's the case. But what they can be rest assured of is that we are not going to quit until justice is done.
We reached out to the White House for comment. Haven't heard back just yet. We expect, though, that there's going to be an awful lot of comment as this day goes on from survivors, from other members of Congress, and other stakeholders in this investigation.
Scott,
Lindsay,
do we know who would fit the bill for that fine? Would it be taxpayers?
it'd be a personal fine against members of the administration, but the reality of that happening seems a little bit like fan fiction right now.
Okay, we always appreciate the reality check from you, Scott. Thank you.